My journey to run the hardest marathon in the world starts here in Medellin, Colombia. Medellin is on the way to Peru, and I had a few days to spend, so I figured I would stop here to get some shopping done, get the trail running shoes I need for race day, and get some workouts in. Alright everybody, today's September 4th, 10 days out now. I did get my phone plan, which I highly recommend doing if you're here in Colombia because it's only $10 for a month of data, whereas if you're using your Verizon or something like that for roaming, it's usually $10 a day. So even if you're here for more than a couple days, I recommend doing that. Anyway, I was talking to the guy that sold me the phone plan, and he reminded me today is the Medellin Marathon, and I figured we'd go check that out today and root on some runners and then get another workout after that. All right, let's go. All right, so it turns out I got here pretty late. I didn't realize it started so early, but we can still check out where the marathon was. So you can see this is where the finish line was, and then this is probably where the starting line was. Still a really cool park though. All right, so workout for the day is gonna be some stairs. So here are the stairs, just plan on running up here and down there, and then probably do this hill a couple times as well, and repeat that until I'm pretty tired. All right, so just finished up the workout. It came out to a little over 3 miles, I think about 3.5 miles, and each lap I'm pretty sure was around quarter mile, so about 14 laps. It was a little bit wet and slippery, as you can see. But that's what you get for being in Medellin. That's the trade-off for everything being so green, is that it kind of rains a lot. Either way, I think it was a pretty good workout, and catch you tomorrow. Today is September 5th, 9 days out now. A couple things on the agenda today. Definitely gotta get some trail running shoes, and I'm gonna do another workout, probably do hills. I know we did stairs yesterday, but I just gotta keep hammering away on those hills, get better at them. So I set out to find myself some running shoes for the race. I found this really cool shoe store, but they ended up not having any trail running shoes. So I went across the city to this other mall, found an Adidas store there, and after looking around and doing some research, I went with Adidas's trail running racing shoe. It's called the T-Rex Speed Flow. They were pretty light and had some good traction. Not sponsored by Adidas, although I wish they would. Got some delicious tacos, and then it was time to lace up the shoes for the next workout. All right, everybody, today's workout is the hill that goes to Pueblito Paisa. Pueblito Paisa is a popular tourist attraction here. It's a cool place with a couple of shops and stuff. It's on top of a super steep hill. I just ran it, and according to my Strava, it is 0.77 miles with 220 feet of elevation gain. So I think it's a pretty good hill to get some intervals on, get some training in. After it, maybe we'll get some dinner up there, and I'll show you the view. All right, so just finished up the workout. It ended up doing 3 intervals total. I'll throw the results from Strava up on the screen. But now it's time to go eat some food and check out Pueblito Paisa. Today is September 6th. We are 8 days out from Marathon Day now. And for today's workout, we're gonna go do El Cerro de las Tres Cruces, which translates to the hill with 3 crosses on it, basically. It's a really cool hike. I've done it before. It's gonna be a bit hard to run because it's very steep. I figured it would be a good opportunity to try out these new trail running shoes we got yesterday. Yeah, I think it'll be a good time. I brought my drone, so hope we get some good drone shots as well. But first, we're gonna go get a snack for breakfast. Breakfast of champions right here. All right, here we are. Cerro de las Tres Cruces. So there was absolutely gorgeous weather that day. I ran up all the portions of this hike that I could. My Strava had me at just under a quarter mile, but that's because the app died on me pretty early into the hike. According to All Trails, this is a 1.4 mile out and back trail with around 1,100 feet of elevation gain. So it's relatively difficult, but I still highly recommend doing it because you get this gorgeous gym at the top. After getting a light workout in, it was time for me to run back down. The best part about this hike is the beautiful wraparound views that you get at Medellin, and of course the 3 crosses themselves at the top, which now that I'm doing this voiceover, I realize I forgot to show. But still an amazing hike nonetheless. Definitely one to cross off your list. And that was it for today, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Today is September 7th, exactly 1 week out from the marathon now. And for today's workout, just gonna keep it nice and simple. Run down the main street in Medellin and back because tomorrow is a flight to Peru. So not gonna do anything crazy with hills or anything. Honestly, Medellin is hilly enough as it is, just running around normally. Yeah, that's the plan for today. I just finished up the run, did about 6.5 miles. A little bit slower pace than I would have liked, but Medellin is actually pretty difficult to run in. Kind of forgot about that. But either way, I think it was a pretty decent workout, and catch you tomorrow for the flight to Peru. All right, everybody, today is September 8th, less than a week to go, and today is the day we actually fly to Peru and say goodbye to Medellin. Got all my stuff packed, as you can see back there. I think we have just enough time to go grab some breakfast before we head out and catch the flight. Breakfast of champions right here, once again. Fresas con helado, or strawberries with ice cream. I don't know why we don't do this more in America, put fruit and ice cream together, but it's really good. I landed in Cusco on September 9th after a brief overnight in Lima, then met up with my tour group, Andy's Adventures, at the airport. From there, our guide brought us on a little walking tour of Cusco. We got to check out a beautiful church and some nice gardens. Cusco sits at just over 11,000 feet of elevation, and I definitely started feeling the effects of it from walking around the city. After the tour was done, I decided to go on a short little run in Plaza de Armas, which is the main plaza of Cusco. And yeah, I just did my first run here, and running in elevation is definitely no joke. I only did a mile, and I feel pretty winded already. So yeah, it's going to take some acclimatization. Luckily, we have 5 days here before the actual marathon. Everything's going so well so far. I'll post my workout on here, and see you guys tomorrow. On September 10th, our second day in Cusco, we visited an archaeological site named Sacsayhuaman. Can't make this stuff up. This site features structures that were built with stones up to 125 tons, and it's still not entirely clear how the Incans were able to construct this over 500 years ago. We also got a nice overhead lookout view of Cusco before starting our first acclimatization run. This run was mostly downhill, and about a mile in we ran into a bunch of barking dogs, so we had to walk it out for a little bit to not spook them too much. Luckily, we were all able to make it out of there without anyone getting bit or hurt, and we just walked out a little bit more and continued our run. This is the other Dylan in our group that I ran most of this run with. There were a couple of slight uphills which were pretty difficult as we were still new to the elevation, but the final part was a nice downhill as we cruised back into downtown Cusco. We finished up back in the main plaza and then had a briefing for information about race day. If you were wondering why this is the hardest marathon in the world, here's the elevation map that will help explain. The race starts at 8,600 feet, tops out at 13,800 feet, and has a total elevation gain of over 10,000 feet. Also, here are the course records for this race, not surprisingly both from Colorado. The next day, we visited a traditional Peruvian village where they showed us how they make natural dyes and weave handmade clothing. And I got to buy this sweet alpaca painting. Then we visited a few shops and it was time for the next acclimatization run. This run was just over 4 miles, almost exclusively downhill, and had amazing scenery with views of some salt flats and the valley below. I made a quick stop to take some cool pictures, and then we finished up the run down the rest of the valley. This trail is known as the Salineras de Maras and was my favorite run of the trip outside of the marathon. It also helped that we had a fun group to run with. On September 12th, we visited a little guinea pig farm, which are relatively common in Peru because they're pretty easy animals to take care of. In America, most people see these animals as cute pets, but in Peru, they're known as a delicacy called cuy. So, sorry to any vegans out there, but they do get eaten here. Later that day, we explored Ollantaytambo. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that somewhat right. It was a nice spot with some Incan ruins that you could climb and check out. I also got some lucuma flavored ice cream, which is a fruit native to Peru that had a really unique and tasty flavor. It almost tasted like cookie dough with a little bit of caramel in it. Also saw this door to nowhere, and then some friends and I decided to go on a hike. I was able to get some cool drone shots, and the view at the top was really nice. Unfortunately, I don't remember the name of this hike, but it was near Cusco and had a path that led to some chapels with crosses that lit up at night. It's always fun getting out in nature with some friends, and we got some final hill practice in before race day. The day before race day, it was time to start journeying to the Inca Trail itself. On the way, we saw this hotel called Sky Lodge. It's probably the worst hotel in the world for anyone afraid of heights. Let me know in the comments if you would be willing to stay here. We also found this game where you have to throw a gold disc into a frog's mouth. The British person in our group let us know it's called Toad, which apparently is a common pub game in the UK, but I've never heard of it. And it's pretty difficult too. I don't think anyone in our group was actually able to get it into the toad's mouth. Then we began our final walk to the Inca Trail. The Inca Trail was built back in the 15th century and was rediscovered in 1915 by an explorer named Hiram Bingham, and we had to get special permits ahead of time from the government to be allowed on it. The Inca Trail to Machu Picchu is typically a 4 to 5 day long hiking adventure that covers the 26 miles of trail. But a couple decades ago, some very athletic ultra runners decided to try and run the entire trail in one shot, which resulted in the Inca Trail Marathon that people still run today. This is the Urubamba River that runs down most of the Inca Trail. There are a lot of large rivers that run down from the Andes Mountains, and because of this, Peru has a lot of hydroelectric power. About 30% of the energy production in Peru is from hydro. Next, it was time for us to cross the river over this bridge and finish up our hike to our campsite. In total, this hike was 5.5 miles long, and we ended at kilometer 88 of the trail, where our campsite was already set up for us by porters who carried all of our stuff over the day before. All right, today is September 13th. Got the marathon tomorrow, and this is our camp we got set up here on the Inca Trail. And supposedly the start will be around there, at the top of that, and we're gonna go hike it at 4 in the morning. We had some delicious dinner and spent most of the day just chilling out and relaxing before race day. After finishing a quick breakfast, we hiked out to the start line. It was about a 3 to 4 mile hike, and we all made sure to have our headlamps because it was pitch black dark.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
I started out the race at a relatively fast pace, which turned out to be a good thing in the end because the beginning was really one of the only runnable parts of this course. At about mile 4, my headlamp started having some issues. Mile 4.5, headlamp stopped working. I turned it on and it just shut itself off. So we're going by moonlight, baby. I ended up using the moonlight for a bit, but luckily the sun came up soon after, and this is where the other Dylan caught up to me. We ran together for a little bit before he ended up going out ahead. Here we ran into a cow. There were quite a few animals on this course, as you'll see throughout the race. Here I ran by some chickens, ducks, and a horse, and I was even joined by a little dog for about a mile. Mile 12, and a dog came to join me. Hello. The next part of the race was called Dead Woman's Pass, which was the main climb to max elevation. I just hit mile 13, about halfway, feeling great. Look at how pretty this is, guys. My goodness. So I'm over here struggling with about 2 pounds of gear. Look at this guy behind me. He's got a giant sack, and he doesn't look tired at all. By this point in the race, I was feeling kind of tired, but watching these porters carrying all this weight reminded me that I really didn't have all that much to complain about. So I just asked how much these guys are carrying. They said 30 kilos. Absolutely insane. That's crazy. Buen trabajo. 30 kilos, just going like it's nothing. Mile 14, just found a little market, but I forgot my money. Oh well, but I think we're almost at max elevation. It turns out I was not almost at max elevation, and I kept climbing for a couple more miles. Just past mile 15, still climbing, and definitely feeling this elevation. For sure. All right, just hit the max elevation, about 13,800 feet right now, and it's finally time to start going downhill again. We finally started descending down a long and rocky hill. This is where I kind of regretted having a racing trail shoe, as the lack of padding started to really wear on my knees. Mile 16, going downhill, feeling great. Mile 17, quick view check, feeling great. And then I hit a quick refuel at the aid station and kept on pushing. Just hit the aid station, banana, cheese sandwich, water, feeling great. And just when I thought we were done climbing, we hit a long series of stairs. More stairs, more stairs, and more stairs, and more stairs, and more stairs. After a bunch of climbing, I finally hit a brief downhill, saw a cool lake, and then got lost for the first time. I had just hit mile 18 when I ran into a sign where the path forked into 2 directions. I had a 50-50 shot, and of course, I chose the wrong direction. The path led me to some Inca ruins that were actually pretty cool, and this detour only added about a mile to the race, so it honestly wasn't all that bad. Feeling great. I kept pushing until I hit about mile 20, which most marathoners will tell you is about halfway. Obviously not mathematically, but both physically and mentally, I find this to be pretty true. Just about at mile 20, started raining quite a bit, but luckily, I packed my emergency poncho, and I was a little on the fence about packing it at first, so I'm really glad I did. Feeling great. At about mile 22 now, only 4 to go. Still raining pretty hard. Feet are completely soaked through. Shoes are completely soaked through. Feeling great. A little bit past mile 22. The rain has pretty much gone away. Got a banana at the aid station, and we got a pretty sweet view. Feeling great. Then I ate my third banana of the race before getting lost for the second time. I came up on this area with a lot of stairs that were going off in different directions, and once again I ended up choosing the wrong one. It took me about 20 minutes to figure out how to get back on the right path, and then I kept pushing forward. Coming up on mile 24, finally getting flat. One of the first times in this entire race, trying to make up some speed. Feeling great. I tried to run as many of the flat areas as I could to make up some time, and then the trail really opened up to some beautiful views. At about mile 24 and a half, almost there. We had a couple more steep downhills, and the views were so nice I had to restrain myself from taking too many pictures. All right, just past the big checkpoint. They said I have 2.5 miles left. Almost there, feeling great. We're super close to the finish line, guys. And you gotta check out this view real quick. Look at that. Fortunately, I was able to run a lot of the last couple miles until I hit another series of stairs. Look at this. What a way to end on. The last mile consisted of some stairs, more stairs, and then a lot more stairs. And finally, Machu Picchu was in sight. All right, I think about half mile left. There's the finish line. According to my Strava, I was well past 28 miles at this point, and it was a huge relief to see that I was almost done. I passed through a couple more ruins as I made it to the final stretch and then the finish line. All finished. Feeling great. After finishing, I explored Machu Picchu for a bit and hung out with the alpacas. I ended up finishing in just over 10 hours, and I came in third place. The runner in our group from Colorado ended up passing me on one of the times I got lost. The following day, we came back to Machu Picchu to hike Huayna Picchu, and on our last day, we hiked Rainbow Mountain, which I made a video about on this channel if you want to check it out. I think it goes without saying that this is the hardest race I've ever done, and maybe one of the hardest things in general I have ever done. Seeing Machu Picchu was a bucket list item for me, and doing it in this way was incredible. This race was the 25th anniversary of Andy's Adventures organizing this event, and also unfortunately the last time they will be offering it. But I think there are still some other companies running this event if you want to try it out. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please leave me a comment with any thoughts you had or any feedback you have for me. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and please consider subscribing if you're interested in seeing any of my running content in the future. I'm currently training for the Austin Marathon in February, and I'm posting all of my workouts along the way. Hope you enjoyed and have a great day.